Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Gibson. I am working on removing a broken rocker arm stud from a set of small block Chevy heads. And the rest of the heads look good, all the valves look good, they just need a quick hone. But that broken stud means I can't use the heads at all. So I'm going to remove that stud. What I've gone ahead and done is taken a 3/8 24 tap, that's the same thread as the rest of the studs. And I carefully started the tap. There was a little bit of thread left on that stud, but I went ahead and tapped it down about as far as I dare. Pretty much the full height of the tap plus just a little bit more, so at least I can get a full nut's worth on those threads. Then I went ahead and took a rocker arm nut, because I tapped them out because these have kind of a swedged thread in them so that when you tighten them, they stay in place. I took a stack of washers here. They're just grade 8 washers that fit over. And then I put some anti-seize on the top washer and on the threads to help lubricate. It's going to make it easier and help this nut pull that stud out. So I'm just going to thread that nut on. I'm being careful to get as much thread engagement as I can, but because my post that I'm trying to pull isn't fully threaded, I'm going to have to tighten a little, take the nut off, add a couple of washers, and carry on. I only want to try and pull maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch at a time, because I want as much thread that I've threaded in that nut as possible. So let's go ahead. I've got my 1/2 inch drive ratchet with a 5/8 socket on it, and I'm just going to go ahead and carefully turn on that post. And every once in a while you'll feel that post pop. I want to be careful because I do have to use a lot of force, that I don't run too far and run out of thread and damage the threads on the stud. So I'm going to run it in, run it back off, and check my progress. I can see I did pull it. I pulled about an 1/8 of an inch. Now I can see because the post is clean where it was down in the block, or in the head itself. So now I'm going to go ahead and add there it went. So there it is, our broken stud out of the block. Now all we got to do, press in a new stud. You saw I got the old broken off stud out by tapping some more threads onto the end and using a stack of washers, and we pulled it off. I went ahead down to the parts store and I got a new press in stud. This cost me a couple of bucks. And I don't have a shop press, so when I tried to drive this in, I bent it. So that didn't work. If I had a press, I probably would be done and we wouldn't be talking about this. But I don't have a press, and I have a couple of machine shops around me at work. I probably could have brought this in and said, hey, can I use your press? Done, out the door. I do have a 7/16 14 tap, and they do make thread-in replacement studs. The beauty of this is it's a 7/16 14 thread on the base and the standard 3/8 24 thread on the top. So all I have to do is tap out some 7/16 14 threads in the head itself. The key here is to make sure that you keep the tap vertical this way and this way. So when I started the tap, I was very careful to use a square, make sure I'm nice and square to all the other studs in the head. And also I sided down the posts on the head to make sure that my tap was square in the opposite direction. Once I was confident that I had this tap started, which I do now, I'm ready to go ahead and finish cutting my threads. we got the threads all cut. I will probably go ahead and clean this out with some carb cleaner, blow it out with some compressed air. Clean the stud as well with some carb cleaner. Then I'm going to use some red Loctite. Put it on the stud. Thread it in. And then I'll use a couple of nuts, a nut and a jam nut, and simply torque it in just enough to put a good amount of torque on it. I've checked it with a ruler. It does sit a little bit taller than the rest of the studs in the head, but the thread height on the stud itself, that the base of the stud looks to be correct and reasonably in line with the rest of the studs, so I should have no problem getting my valve train adjusted properly. That's it.